بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Today we are going to start a new subject in the course of heat exchanger design. This type of heat exchanger is called gasket plate heat exchanger. The main contents of this presentation is shown in this slide. We are going to talk about introduction and the main parts of the plate heat exchanger, the types of the plates, typical value for the plate heat exchanger parameters, disadvantages and advantages, applications, flow arrangement, heat transfer and pressure drop calculations, and then we are going to see some examples, solved example. After that we are going to talk about more than one pass. We will understand what's the meaning by one pass or more than one pass later. Then we are close with the sizing procedure for plate heat exchanger. This heat exchanger was invented long time ago in 1930s. The simple idea of this plate heat exchanger is that you have a plate. On one side you have hot fluid and the other side you have a cold fluid. It started to spread in 1960s. It is increased use in recent years. It is very efficient heat exchanger. Take less space compare with the space needed for shell and tube heat exchanger. It can be easily mechanically clean. Duty or the heat rate can be increased by adding plates. Gasket cannot stand high temperature and pressure. This slide shows the main parts of the gasket plate heat exchanger. As you can see, there are two plates, they call it the end plates. This is the one end plate and this is the other side plate. They are thick. They used to compress all the plates inside. There is a carrying bar. This carrying bar, they can hang all the plates together with and we can use this tightening bullet along with the nuts to squeeze or compress the plates all together. Every plate has four ports, two ports for the cold fluid and two ports for the hot fluid. This is the same figure as before, but translated into Arabic. The main parts of the plate heat exchangers are the plates themselves, the gasket, the frame, the two end plates, or they call it the fixed plates, and the ports, the input and output ports. The plates, as we said before, it has a gasket. You can see it in black here. Every plate separated with the other plate with a gasket. The gaskets would allow the flow to flow in certain ports of the four ports that we talk about. The plates they can have different size. This slide shows different sizes of the plates and also shows the gasket itself and the flow itself, because of the gasket will go in this port instead of this port because of the gasket. There are many types of the plates that used in plate heat exchanger. We are going to focus on chevron angle plates, which is like 7 in Arabic, or like a V. Of course V and the other side is going to be inverted, so it's going to be like inverted V. What we mean by chevron angle is this angle. The angle that is between that corrugation on the plate along with the horizontal. So this angle is called beta, which is very important for designing and performance of plate heat exchanger. Of course, we put here the hairbone of a fish so that you can see that the original shape of the hairbone comes from this shape. The chevron angle beta can varies between 25 and 65, and when you as we said before, when you have two plates together, one of them is going to be like this, which is like a V shape, and the other one is going to be inverted V, so that when you put the two plates together, you will get something like this. This will create some kind of passages for the flow between the two ports. This is another photo or figure showing the two plates. This is a left plate and this is a right plate, which are going to be close to each other. The gasket is shown, for example, in the left plate. We have 4 ports, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Because of the arrangement of the gasket, the flow is going to be only going from 1 to 3, from 1 to 4, sorry, or the reverse. So the flow is going, for example, if we are going to assume, for example, the flow is going to go this way, so it's going to go from port 1 to port 4 on this side of the plate. Then on the right side of the plate, the other plates, that you will see that only the flow is going to go from 2 to 3. Again, the flow can go from 3 to 2 or from 2 to 3. Let's assume that the flow is going to go this way. So if we assume that this is the hot fluid and this is the cold fluid, so it is very clear that for the cold fluid, the flow is going to go from 1 to 4, from above to below, and here it is going to go on the other side from below to up. So they have, if you have the plate itself like this, so you have one flow going this way, which is, for example, hot or cold, and the other one is going to go in the reverse direction. Of course, there are 2 ports here and 2 ports here, 2 ports here and 2 ports here, allowing the flow to go in the designed direction. This is another view showing the same thing that we said before, for the flow that is controlled by the gasket to flow in certain ports. The gasket itself, it has certain groove that can go into, and the plate themselves, actually they are very thin, made of a very conductive material like aluminum. This is another figure showing the gasket on the plate. There is another thing about the gasket plate heat exchanger. If we are assuming that this is a cold fluid and this is the hot fluid, if there is a leakage in the port, there are what we call vents. These vents allow the flow not to be mixed with for example, the hot fluid is not going to be mixed with the cold fluid. So if there is a rupture in the port, because of these vents, the flow is going to go outside. It's not going to go to mixed here. The same thing, this is also the cold fluid here, and suppose that we have a rupture here or some kind of a break of the gasket, the flow is not going to mix with this one. It's going to go outside through these vents here. These are also vents on the gasket themselves to allow the flow to go outside and not to be mixed with the other stream. This is the same idea, the gasket, and this is also from chapter 11 in our book, and it also talk about the vents that are designed within the gasket. These are the ports, again showing the flow for the few plate of heat exchanger. You can see the flow is going to be, for example, going for example the cold fluid going this direction and coming out this way, and the other fluid, which is, for example, the hot fluid, is going to go this way and coming out this way. Of course, it's going to be distributed for all the plates. In the next slide, we are going to see a video explaining the basic idea of gasket plate heat exchanger. الفيديو الآتي من شركة ساندكس يبين كيفية عمل المبادل الحراري من نوع صفيحة وإطار. كما قلنا سابقا يتكون المبادل الحراري أساسا من صفائح، كل صفيحة عليها إطار ولها 4 فتحات. يوجد دعامتين كبيرتين في نهاية المبادل الحراري، وذلك لتركيب الحامل الذي يمكن تحميل عليه الصفائح. كما يلاحظ أن الصفائح بعضها عكس بعض، فشكل التعرجات ممكن تكون 7 و8. بعد أن يتم تركيب جميع الصفائح على الحامل، يتم وضع اللولب والمسمار مع الصامولة لشد الصفائح بعضها على بعض. وبعد ذلك لمشاهدة كيفية توزيع المياه وشكلها في المبادل الحراري، واضح أنه تم إدخال الماء البارد الأزرق وخروجه من جهة واحدة، وكذلك الأحمر من فوق إلى تحت. فواضح جدا الآن من هذا الشكل أن لكل صفيحة يمر السائل الأزرق من تحت والأحمر من أعلى إلى أسفل، ولذلك يتم التبادل الحراري بينهما. وكما قلنا سابقا فإن كمية الحرارة ممكن التحكم فيها، وذلك بزيادة عدد الصفائح كما يحتاج التطبيق على سبيل المثال. إضافة إلى ذلك فإن الزاوية مهمة اللي هي زاوية شيفرون، ولذلك كمية الهيت أيضا تعتمد على الزاوية هذه والتعرجات أيضا.